Hello, this is Greg Ellis from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you on the 4th of July. And to all my American friends, I say have a happy 4th of July to you. And if you're not in America, I would say, gee, I hope one day you will have the liberties that we have aspired to have here. And to my friends here, I say, I hope we return to having the liberties our founding fathers envisioned for us. You know what I mean. Happy Independence Day. So we'll talk about independence. We'll talk about freedom, liberty, mainly independence. So on this day, 244 years ago, the founding fathers of the United States drafted a document to declare their independence. That document, the Declaration of Independence, was the founding document of the United States of America. For a few years thereafter, the United States operated off the Articles of Confederation as the operating document, and that later became the Constitution of the United States of America, which became the law of the land. But still, our Independence Day dates to the day of our founding document, which was the Declaration of Independence. It's a very forward-looking document. And oh, by the way, I'm sitting here on a nice little park bench I found. See here my park bench? Yeah, quite a natural park bench, right? Anyway, interesting document, the Declaration of Independence. And it started off saying, I got skeeters buzzing around my head, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect for the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. If you want to separate, declare why. And they did so in this document. It goes quite into that. But the next paragraph is the most powerful paragraph probably penned in any founding document of any nation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Notice it said just, which means if it's not from the consent of the governed, it's not just. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation upon such principles, and organize its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Wow, a little spider up here. Gently brush, let him go down. I think it was a spider. Yeah, I'm in the woods, I'm in the wilds, all kind of little things come upon me. So think about that. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident. They should be evident without any declaration. That all men are created equal. That they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Not civil rights, they all have these rights. And it said that among these are, it didn't say these are the rights, it said among these, there are other rights. And that's why there's the 9th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says anything not eliminated in the Constitution are rights that belong to the people. Wow. Really and truly, our government today doesn't seem to believe that, does it? And the 10th Amendment also gives the powers not enumerated in the Constitution to the states, and then unto the people. So that never changed in the documents. No amendments ever been made to change that, but our government seems to try to operate otherwise. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. So this document has got a lot of interesting points to it. Declaration of Independence. So why don't I talk about that? Well, today is our founding day. Today we seem to have lost sight of a lot of what independence means, a lot of what freedom means. And our freedoms are being challenged like never before. Our rights are being challenged like never before, from both the top and the bottom. The powers that be, and from certain groups that are somewhat grassroots. Although I would suggest maybe they're getting some money from the very top. It's interesting that the very richest of rich, the uber billionaires, seem to be the ones that are most active in promoting the development of communism, what they call communism. You know, they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't have a game plan for how they were still going to come out on ahead. Believe you me, it's probably just going to give them more market share. And they'll form a government that's in the end to their desires. Or maybe they just like, hey, we'll cause all this consternation in the street, and in the end we'll form a full-up fascist country. We'll call it communism, and we'll be in charge. You know, just kind of like what I'm saying is the government in China. Cameron, I think the sun's behind me. You hear nature's fireworks. Mother Nature likes to celebrate 4th of July for us around here. We tend to get fireworks every 4th of July. A little thunder, a little lightning. So, to me, that's not frightening. It's a good celebration. Now, the reason I talk about that is we really need to understand just how precious liberty is. You got to realize the people that wrote this document were committing high crime in the eyes of the King of England, King of the United Kingdom. King George was somewhat less than pleased by that. He sent armies to capture the people that started this, to stomp out the movement, to retake America. Fortunately, they failed. But the people that penned that document, you know, they weren't just some of them were rich and wealthy, but everything they had was at stake. It was a high-stakes gamble, and the odds were not in their favor. I mean, they were taking on the greatest superpower on earth, and they really didn't have any army to speak of. And what they did have was just ragtag forces. They took it upon themselves to take on the most powerful superpower on earth with a ragtag bunch of volunteers and soldiers to fight for independence. But that's how much they believed in it. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." He meant it. There's reasons that these people did not want tyranny upon them. But you know, when you think about the transgressions of King George, they seem kind of pale compared to how our government operates today, maybe. And some might say, you might think, possibly. Maybe we should consider this a live action role play. But think about it. You know, the taxations. Do we really have representation? When in 2008 they decided to bail out the bankers, and everybody's calling the switchboard lines, burning them off, saying don't do it, and every swinging member of Congress except Ron Paul voted for it. He's really in charge. So that's what you need to think. Why is it they're so happy and giddy with glee to take away every freedom and liberty? That's why. It's because they don't care nothing about it. They're trying to ignore it. They're trying to get around it. They try to legislate around it. We have bureaucrats who create regulations which have the effect and power of law without having an elected position to invoke that upon you and all. So we're in a pickle. And this is one of the reasons I've been talking a lot about morality, about freedom matters, and such things. These are important principles. That's why I talk about liberty. That's why I've talked about property rights. Because with property, you can aspire to greatness. The key thing is your self-sovereignty, that you are the sovereign. They're wanting to take that away. That's why they're trying to stamp out all the small business. That's why the uber billionaires are behind this, because you'll wind up working for them. They want to stamp out the trades, the small companies, the independent farmers, everybody but them. Look at Amazon, what they're doing. They're trying to, they bought at Whole Foods and then they put Del Monte foods in that were GMO and everything else and labeled them as organic. That happened. Maybe they went back on it. Maybe they fixed it. But do you trust them now? Do you really trust them? Maybe that's all right with you. Maybe that's what you want to eat. But it's not all right with everyone, trust me. And yeah, now they want to come up with food deliveries from their systems, just like they want to deliver everything else. They want to come up with them growing all the food in factories, Frankenfood. And so they're trying to cut out completely the small independent farmer, the last bastions of self-sovereignty, of real freedom, to make everyone subservient. You know, oh, Greg, we'll just get a living wage and we'll all work, we'll all sit on our couches and play video games and surf the internet. What you do? Help you out. Well, you know, I like watching YouTube, but you know, somebody's got to produce stuff. Oh, but the robots will do it all. The robots cannot do it all. Our AI is not that good. Show me a robot that can go into a house and strip out the wire and replace it. We're not even close to that. Probably never will be. Yeah, they're good for factory productions. They're good for certain movements and certain things, but they have a lot of limitations, my friends, a lot of limitations. There's things that you still want tradesmen for. there are things and reasons why you still want small family farms, so you know what you're really getting when you go buy stuff, so you know what's in it, what's coming, what's there. That you can be clear that you're getting what you're looking for. And most of all, you want to promote sovereignty of your brothers and sisters, your community, your tribe. And that's why I tell everybody, vote with your dollar. Your dollar is one of your most important votes. Vote for your local farmer, for your local tradesman, for the small shop, for the things that are owned by individuals. Do as much of your business as you can with them. Sometimes I understand you just can't get some things that way these days, but the more you vote for it, the more they'll become available in the future. So those are important principles. Self-sovereignty is really what it boils down to. Some people don't want us to be self-sovereign. Some people think, you know, that freedom of speech is against social justice. That's kind of hard to see. You know, this document did say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. All men. It didn't say the purple people. It didn't say the green guys like Greens Greggs. It didn't say short-haired people, long-haired people, people that believe in fuzzy bunny rabbits floating in the sky, floating spaghetti monsters, flying spaghetti monsters or whatever some people talk about. You know, those kind of things, which are offered up in jest, of course. A little bunny foo-foo who goes stomping through the forest. I hope you heard that story before. Might see him here. He might be in the background. Little bunny foo-foo. Or Bigfoot. In any event, these are important things, the freedoms. The reason they are important is because if you don't have a First Amendment, like we do in our Constitution, if you don't have those kind of freedoms, you don't have freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of redress. Our press today is a joke. It's almost 6 companies, and you can go even to the local medias, who are now all owned by big corporations too, and you will see them all parroting the same story, same words verbatim, except for maybe a regional replacement. They might say y'all instead of you, or yous guys. You know, you all in Kentucky maybe. So you've got to pay attention. They're saying the same things over and over and over. It's scripted. It's scripted. You're not getting news. In fact, some of us are calling from today forward a 60-day media blackout, or mainstream media blackout, for everyone just to boycott the mainstream media. What I like to say is let's keep promoting it this entire month and really black it out in August. Let them feel the pinch. That's what we need to do. Let them know that, hey, it's the people that counts. In the end, the people matter. All people matter. All colors matter. All creeds matter. Everyone is important. And we got to learn to pull together. I did a video about rose-colored glasses. I'm in the woods, so I don't need to wear these, right? And I talked about putting on other people's rose-colored glasses, because I appealed to you to reach out across the aisle to other people so that we can have peace and harmony in this country. So at least diffuse some of it. Yeah, the ringleaders are probably not going to be happy with nothing, but they, you know, you take away the masses who they're reliant upon to riot and burn, and that might just go away. We need peace, we need harmony, we need freedom, we need prosperity for everyone. But we have, under the freedoms we have, equal opportunities. Opportunities are there. People come here from foreign countries with not a nickel in their pocket, they don't even speak English, and you give them, you know, 15, 20 years and they can be uber prosperous. I've seen it happen. So that's what we can do. Freedom offers you a lot of things. Property rights offer you a lot of things. I just did a video on that, why that's important. Why it gives you your freedom of expression to do things, to build things, to make things, and intends to give you more productivity. And by having independent farmers, you can know what you're buying. You won't have to be subjected to the mandated frankenfood. Oh yeah, by the way, sometimes there is legislations that like to pass on those so-called food safety acts. Usually you can tell what an act's all about by its name. Whatever the name is, the act is usually exactly the opposite. And it's usually, hey, let's squeeze out the small guy act, and very little to do about food safety. Food safety acts has led to you having cattle that are, udder deep in their feces, crammed together in feedlots, and they have to drown them in hormones to keep the disease down. That's what food safety bills by you. And what they would like to do is put out the independent guy who might be raising grass-fed beef and cattle with good wholesome milk. Yeah, they don't want you having that. God forbid. So this is why freedom is important. This is why the regulations are onerous and need to be gotten rid of. This is why all laws should have a sunset date on them. There's no law should be in perpetuity. We need to look at how to change the government, and we need to push for it and go back to our basic fundamentals that was established initially in the Declaration of Independence and later in our Constitution. This is why we need to push for freedoms for everyone. So I will say that the independence matters. It mattered a lot to our founding fathers. A lot of people in this country have fought, worked, sweated hard to keep our liberty, our independence. A lot of people sacrificed their life on the battlefield again and again. Some wars weren't right. Some wars probably weren't just. Some wars were banker wars, wars for oil. But we've had wars for liberty, wars for freedom. And we need to honor our ancestors and keep that going. You may not agree with everything, and that's not important. One thing the monuments give you is a record of the history, be it good or bad. At least you know what it was. Slavery was bad. I absolutely agree with that. But those monuments do leave you with a record of the history, so it's not forgotten. When you forget things, you repeat them. We don't want slavery. We don't want to see supremacist groups of any shape, form, or color, because supremacy is a flawed concept. Yeah, we might have some little differences, mainly climatological adaptations, but those are things where they just celebrate, not fight over. Let's celebrate our diversity, not fight over it, for Pete's sake. That's nuts. It's insane. There's beautiful people on every part of this planet. Every race, color, creed, and nationality has beautiful people, has smart people, people with good hearts, people that can love. But there's also those that anywhere you go are sociopaths and psychopaths. And they tend to float to the top within the halls of governance. Why? Because they know they're not really all that good or maybe all that smart, but they know they can play people. And they don't have the rules that most of us live and work by. They use that to their advantage. And because they know they are running a game, they learn early in life to charm people. So they tend to be charming people. But the problem is this, and I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. There's three principles that lead in any society to a tyranny. Any and every society will go to tyranny in time. But if you have the right kind of freedoms and checks and balances, you can limit how bad it goes, how far it goes. You can bring it back, stop it, turn it around, and maybe stop it entirely. Those three principles, I've said them before, are the one stated by Lord Acton, which is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The golden rule of gold, he who has the gold makes the rule. And sycophants, birds of a feather, flock together. Those guys are going to follow these guys and be their little army. Those three principles will always give you a tyranny in any society, however you set it up. However you set it up. However level the playing field is at first, it's going to merge in time. Look at, now China, I've said, hey, China is not a communist country anymore. But, and I'm not saying communism is good by any stretch. It's not in my book. Not in my book at all. But I was just trying to define things so people would understand. Mao Zedong is said to have killed 80 million of his own people. Isn't that great and wonderful? And I know some people, like the Weather Underground, was thinking it would, and 25 million Americans would have to die. That was some years ago, and our population is about half of what it is today. Would they say 50 million today? More? And many of their survivors would need to go to re-education camps. It's only if you couldn't be re-educated that you would need to be offed, right? Okay. Now, think about this. Pol Pot wiped out a third of his own country. And, he was the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. Pol Pot, a third of his people. That's going to be a lot of your brothers and sisters and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles, nephews, niece, your kids, you. Is that the kind of society you want to have let go? You know, should we just sit by in complacency and let people run amok to start things heading down that road? You know, they're sooner or later to come to get you. Sooner or later to come to get you. So that's why I say right now, let's try to diffuse it. Let's reach out in peace. Let's reach out in love. Let's reach out across the aisle and try to develop understanding while we still can. It may be too late. You know, I'm expecting a lot of stuff to start happening around election time, prior to the election. And if some groups don't get their wishes, it might get really ugly. Maybe either way. So these are all things to think about. They're all important things. I hope we can steer this thing in toward a better outcome, but I think we're going to have to pray, meditate, also to get us toward a better outcome, to appeal to that Creator who endowed us with these unalienable rights that was cited in our Declaration of Independence. That's what we need to do. Appeal to the greater Creator. Let's do that. Let's all work together. Meditate. If you don't believe in the greater Creator, at least meditate. And work towards, hey, I got that little spider come back, or another one just like him. There he is. Off to the tree, my friend, off to the tree, that you may be free. And he's free. There's freedom running up the tree branch. There's your freedom. See him? A lot of people have just squashed him. A lot of people are afraid of spiders. Are you afraid of spiders? You shouldn't be afraid of a spider. Check him out. He's a sweet little spider. I don't want to scare him too bad. He was crawling on me first. There he goes. Off in his merry little life. So, you know, get out in nature. It'll calm your soul. Give you a chance to get perspective. You might be really mad about something. Go off in nature and think. Get your wits about you. Nature's a great equalizer too. And it's a place that everybody needs to spend more time in the green. Just ask Green Greg's. He'll tell you so. And he'll tell you to try to understand other people and put on their rose-colored glasses to see the world through their worldview. Then you will know how to be more helpful for them and you. And maybe you can learn how to teach them to consider your worldview once you've considered theirs. You can't teach them until you understand where they're coming from, or try to inform them. But maybe you should question your own worldview. Take a look at your rose-colored glasses. But I hope you're having fun. Hope everybody has a beautiful Independence Day. I know I'm putting this video up a little late. You're probably already cooking your dogs. Maybe you're just going to bed now. If it's so, I hope you had a good one. Maybe you're looking at this the next day or two. And again, I hope you've had a good one in that case. Just look through here. Look at the woods. Look at what I see. Look at it through my rose-colored glasses. It's prettier without them, is it not? Our human views, warped as they are, you can't beat nature. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just gorgeous? So you can't beat it. In any event, I just wanted y'all to think a little bit. You can support my channel. First, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Bang the update notification bell. Click all. I've had a bunch of people just recently unsubscribed, it seems. So go back and check, make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure your bell's still clicked. Come back and check my channel periodically, in case you might not be getting notifications. And furthermore, and most of all, support my channel. Well, maybe not most of all. You can support my channel by clicking the links below. Right now, we still have $100 off a 4-week long-term food supplies with my page of supply. And if you click in that site, you can get links to all kind of prepping supplies. Now is the time to prep. Believe you me, you need to get with it and shore up your preppings. And also, now is a great time to plant your garden still. You can still plant stuff. There's a fall garden you can plant. A lot of stuff you can plant in the fall. And you want heirloom seeds. To get those, go to a True Leaf Market. Heirloom seeds are the kinds you can plant and replant. Check out these bees. I'll show you. I'll give you a little walk around here. It's my greenhouse. Hello, bees. I just got some honey from these bees. I got another guy beekeeping for me. Actually, his hives, but he gives me some honey. I don't have to do anything. Great trade for me. I'm too busy to do that right now. So, wild edibles. I do a lot of videos on wild edibles. That's a wild cherry tree. It's a young one. It's not fruited yet. There's sweet gum. You can make medicinals from that. I've done a video on that. I've done a video on eating pine. How you can eat pine trees. Sweet gums. There's all kind of food here. There's a bigger cherry tree. Oh, wait a minute. That might be a persimmon. Yeah, that's a persimmon tree. Do you believe? It's got blackberries here. Well, something been eating on those. Looky here. Sassafras. You make tea. See that hole? It's going to be a future. I'll probably do a whole bunch of videos on that soon. When I start building my habitat. Probably done right here. Currently I call it wood hinge. That's a pretty looking berry. That's a pretty looking berry. You actually use blackberry root for medicinal purposes. I'll do a video on that. Cherokee did that. There's plenty to eat out here in the woods. Look at this. See that? It's a wild grape. You can eat those leaves. They're edible. They're edible. Or sassafras. I mean, I look out here in the forest. Most people in the forest and they just see weeds, things that scare them. When I look in the forest, I see food. I see food everywhere. Stay with me, follow me, and I'll teach you how to eat from that. The proposition of my channel, which is what I'm going to honor with that, is to teach you how to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. But in the meantime, you need to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel because stuff is coming at us. And I will do my best to keep you apprised of that, to keep you aware of what's going on in the world at large and here local. But I felt it was important to build a foundation. A foundation for why. For why. And that is what I'm doing here. Oh, so I know you watched the video this length. I got something I want you to say. You see this? That is greenbrier. So I don't know, you watched it. Tell me, Greg, eat your briars. That's one of the tougher leaves. But those can be actually quite tasty. Just say, Greg, eat your briars. Like I said, it's food everywhere. That's another greenbrier bush. A little budding huckleberry bush, which is like a wild blueberry. There is food everywhere. Trust me. Anyway, everyone have a happy 4th of July, and thank you for watching.